Breaking news as the Texans make a trade. Something I was not expecting, even though we've mentioned this player in the past of a guy who we've seen could be on the rumors for trade blocks. Finally shipped off to a team that we've done business with a decent amount of times this offseason. Nick Caserio and Howie Roseman have a pretty good relationship, it seems, because this is their third interaction having a trade in this offseason. They said early in the offseason, call up Howie Roseman, hey, can we get CJ Gardner-Johnson? Howie's like, you know what, why not? And then we call him back and say, you know what, can you take Kenyon Green off our hands? Boom. Why not? Pretty sure that was in the same transaction. But besides the point, again, we've already traded with them this past offseason. And why not trade a wide receiver who probably wasn't going to be a reliable threat in the offense, guy who was going to be a wide receiver 6 or 7. So go have him prove himself on another team. But welcome to Texans Digest. 75% of you are not subscribed, and we're actually less than 10 subs away from a huge milestone, 2,000 subs. So if you would be so kind, hit that subscribe button. Join the Texans Digest family. We have been rolling all offseason, and wow, just got done wrapping up preseason week 2. John Metchie to the Eagles for a day 3 pick swap. It was like a fifth for, let me pull up the actual details here for you. If I could find it, I have it somewhere. I promise. Maybe I don't. Anyway, it was basically a fifth for a sixth, and it really, again, the pick swap doesn't mean anything. But the biggest thing, and it's funny because in the preseason recap, I said it was Hunter Long. I don't know why I got Hunter Long in my head, but we got Harrison Bryant, former Brown. I think it's a good idea. Not only the fact that Brevin Jordan went down, but he can block and he can go run some routes. I mean, he's a decent guy who you trade for a player and a pick swap. If you didn't include Bryant, it probably would have been a fifth, a fourth, and no pick swap. But again, you get John Metchie for a pick swap and a player. Regardless, again, he probably wouldn't have had too much value to be traded. He was a former second-round pick, and honestly, a great story. 2022 second-round pick, coming back, battling back from a leukemia battle, made the 53-man roster, and then didn't have the best season last year. So they give him a fresh start on Philadelphia, reunites with his former teammate in Devontae Smith. So a great kind of road for him, and I wish him the best of luck. John Metchie is an awesome competitor. Again, just didn't have the best season with us as a wide receiver too. I think he can very much succeed on the Eagles as a slot receiver if they give him the opportunity. But I mean, even looking at that depth chart, it's not even that certain that he's going to play that often. That's kind of why the pick swap speaks for itself for the Texans, as the Eagles weren't giving up too much. They were saying low risk, low reward. Why not go and get it? And again, they have plenty of tight ends. You know, Goddard, Calcaterra, Granson. I mean, Hunter Long. Harrison Bryant is the tight end we got. I don't know why I keep getting those two confused, but Harrison Bryant, probably the third, fourth tight end on that room. It really is just an extra player because they needed some depth at the tight end position, obviously, with Brevin Jordan. But honestly, looking at this roster, I know it's the Texans, and we're supposed to look at that, but I honestly want to look at the opportunity that he has. And Johnny Wilson has been balling out in preseason. John Metchie, he's been doing a pretty good job. I mean, if we go ahead and look at him versus Derek Stingley Jr., oh my, took his ankles a little bit. And I think it's kind of funny because you look at this comment here, and it says, the Texans were trying to trade Metchie. They said, hey, Derek Stingley, let him cook you in practice. That is kind of funny, obviously, with the clip at the bottom. But I don't think that happened on purpose. I mean, maybe he just slipped a little bit, lost his footing. I mean, here's the thing. The one thing about John Metchie is he's a pretty good route runner, and he can create separation. And having to step up as the wide receiver 2 last season, you know, he was in the slot, again, in and out of the slot, kind of as the XZ kind of wide receiver. He didn't do enough. And that's where the Texans, you go out and you see this kind of depth chart, and this is the kind of depth that you have on the team. Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Christian Kirk, Jalen Noel, Justin Watson, Christian Kirk. I mean, there's so many names. I think I said Christian Kirk twice, but my point here, again, I don't think if you count Collins, Kirk, Higgins, Noel, Watson, and then Hutchinson or Barrios, like he was 6 or 7 in terms of wide receivers on our team. He's the wide receiver 5 in Philadelphia. So it's not like he's starting for them, but it's not like a big trade for the Texans. It's more of a matter of, hey, we've finally decided to move on from him. This is the best value we can get because he's most likely either not going to make the team or was going to be not as many use for the Texans. So it looks like, hopefully, I don't know exactly, but these receivers are probably going to rotate. Outside of Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins, we're going to see Christian Kirk in there. We're going to see Jalen Noel in there. I wouldn't be surprised if Watson takes a few snaps, Braxton Berrios. Obviously, your main guys are going to be out there for 70, 80% of the game. But to have backups that can be competent and not competent, but you know what I mean, be competitive in that room to actually step up and make plays, guys that are actual veterans and starters on other teams. Like Berrios could be a starter on some teams. Justin Watson, I mean, he played pretty well for the Chiefs. I mean, there's teams these guys can go to, but Nick Caserio said, hey, well, I'm going to pay you, $2 million to sit here, probably not play too many snaps, but be an absolute tool threat and just a great player. Like Braxton Berrios out of the slot, he's returning punts. I mean, he is such a shifty player that how can you not miss out on a guy like him? So overall, the receiving room, it doesn't look any different to me. I could argue it looks a little bit slimmer without John Metchie, but realistically, it's nothing crazy in terms of a trade. I mean, Metchie was having the best year in camp, and you need room for other guys like Berrios and Watson and maybe even Hutchinson if he makes the team. So again, the 53-man roster is not made yet. The Texans still have a couple cuts to make. I mean, even looking at, not the Eagles, but this roster, I mean, there's going to be a lot of offensive linemen that probably don't make the team. There's going to be probably that whole fourth-string category besides Dare Ogunbowale is going to be done. Xavier Johnson probably be on the practice squad. Daniel Jackson probably be on the practice squad. Harrison Bryant definitely going to, I would assume, be on the team. It seems like Irv Smith is the next guy up in terms of how that's going to work out. But, I mean, again, all players that are good enough to make the roster. So it's really just going to come down to what does DeMeco Ryans decide and Nick Caley and all of the group together making their decisions as to who makes the team and communicating that with the GM. Hey, Metchie is doing great, but hey, we don't have any use for him. So I wish Metchie the best. It was definitely a little bit you expected it, but not really right before the season. At least for me, it was like a little bit caught off guard to the fact that, hey, John Metchie is he's gone. So I was a little caught by surprise. I mean, it's not like we haven't been talking about this for a while, but I feel like the buzz kind of died down ever since the preseason started, and now all of a sudden, all right, John Metchie, let's get rid of him. Like, he's doing well in camp, but it's just like you see so much potential in a player, and then you trade him. It's like, I wish we would have had him for a little bit longer, but understandable because that's the value in trades. When a player's balling out in training camp and doing well, that's when you trade him, when he's at his peak, because all this preseason buzz, Metchie could do great in training camp. He could step on an NFL field and fumble the ball like he did in the Chargers game and go right back to being what he did last year. And I don't believe that for any second because, I'll argue the fact that players are going to improve throughout their NFL career. They're not going to take steps back. And honestly, Metchie looks like he's finally made his way back to this point, worked really hard to just continue with his speed, his good routes, and ball skills. So I think this past offseason, being able to be, flushed into play, it really got to him and be like, okay, I'm going to make sure this offseason I make it my all. And he's done amazing. So props to John Metchie, giving him a fresh start in Philadelphia. I really hope he gets the slot receiver over Jahan Dotson. I don't know how likely that is because here's the thing. Johnny Wilson for the Eagles, again, an absolute monster. But he is also not their slot receiver. It's John Metchie. Metchie could be the number 2, but I really do believe that he could be the backup slot. I mean, Terrence Marshall probably be your backup 2, but realistically, John Metchie is the guy that's going to be in and out with Jahan Dotson. So I would expect him to play crucial game minutes. And, I mean, he was – I don't know if he was with Jalen Hurts at Alabama. I don't know if they actually – I'm pretty sure they played together. Him, Smith, and Metchie. Yeah, they all played together. So that's probably the thought process with the Eagles here is the chemistry of you're building the Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, seriously, it's like Hurts at Alabama, Smith, and why not bring in Metchie? So I love the fact that they're bringing the boys back together, and that's kind of the main reason. But, yeah, props to John Metchie. Got a little bit of something for him, a 5th for a 6th, whatever the swap was. I'm pretty sure it was a 5th for a 6th, and Harrison Bryant. So Just a little quick video, but just a little recap and kind of where the Texans roster is at. Definitely a little bit bittersweet, honestly, because he was looking so promising, but it's not unexpected. It's just, and now he's gone. So go good for John Metchie. Go do his thing. He's definitely going to catch a couple passes from Hurts. I mean, those guys got chemistry. It's been a couple years since they played, but I don't think they're going to miss their marks. But John Metchie to the Eagles. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as well as any of the other preseason buzz you're hearing about in camp. I mean, realistically, I just can't wait for the season, and it's been such a long offseason that I'm just like, can we just see the starters back, football back already in week 1? But no, it's going to be here before we know it, and the season's probably going to be over before we know it, just because that's how every year goes. But thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, 75% of you are not subscribed. As I mentioned in the beginning of the show, we're less than 10 subs away, so really looking to that milestone of 2,000 subs. Celebrate it with you guys. We continue to grow. Once again, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Genuinely couldn't thank you guys enough to just be here, be able to support this channel, make videos on the side. But yeah, enough from me. This is Texans Digest. I'm Mike Zanetti. And for the next news segment of Texans, we'll see you guys there. Peace.